I have never been closer to switching to Apple than I have been in the last few weeks, but I couldn't do it. Here's why. Let's go. In the last few weeks, I've seriously contemplated switching to an Apple product for the first time in ever. Well, I did have an iPod Touch like 15 years ago, neither here nor there, but I couldn't do it. So I want to explain why I couldn't do it. Before I get to that, I should give you some context just about why I'm so heavily into the Samsung ecosystem. My first smartphone was a Galaxy Wave running Samsung's proprietary Bada OS. I thought I was the best, most unique person in the world for having this. Everyone had iPhones, and I had this AMOLED display where apps didn't work. But I thought I was really cool. That sort of started my journey into Samsung, because from there, I've had almost every Galaxy S, every Galaxy Note, and every Galaxy Fold, Flip, Tab. Pretty much every Samsung mobile product that they've made in the last 10 years, I've owned it. But it's not just the Samsung mobile products. I've built an entire ecosystem of Samsung products. The fridge, microwave, oven, stovetop, all Samsung. In my lounge room, I have air conditioning, I have televisions, I have soundbars, all Samsung. Vacuum cleaner, Samsung. In my bedroom, I have another frame TV, I have the Viewfinity S9, my Book 4 Ultra's over there, and then the mobile products surrounding that. Everything is Samsung. But there was just one product that launched from Apple recently that almost swayed me. It was the Mac Mini. Let me tell you why. I've been a Book 4 Ultra user and a Samsung laptop user before that for years, because I just have found Samsung's implementation of laptops to work really well within Samsung's ecosystem. They're open, so they work with not just Samsung products. They can work obviously with Microsoft platform as well, but the implementation of the Samsung ecosystem has been superb. What I've found with the Book 4 Ultra, and I guess with Windows as a platform, is from a creator standpoint, there is some limitations that can prevent you from working better. For me, the Book 4 Ultra, whilst it's fully spec'd out, Core 9 Ultra, 32 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte SSD that I've upgraded to another extra 2 terabyte SSD, so 3 in total, with a 4070 graphics card in there. It's a machine that is very, very powerful. With all that power though, it lacks the responsibility to handle it. I've tried every configuration of power management to make this thing perform well, but be efficient. And there just isn't a balance. When I put it into high performance mode, the fans are crazy loud and the battery lasts half an hour when I'm doing some editing off the charger. And I have to have that performance mode set, or else there'll be stutters whenever I'm editing in Premiere Pro. Then when I'm connected to power, even though it's got the full juice pushing to it, again, the fans are crazy. So then I put it into balanced. And then when I put it into balanced, it just doesn't have the energy and the power to sort of handle a lot of the workload that I throw at it. And the reason why I guess in the last few weeks, I've been thinking more about this than I have before that is because in the last few weeks, I've been doing a lot of work. Fold Special Edition came out, oneui 7's just dropped. There's a lot of videos that I've been sort of pumping out for you guys and on the other channel, Sam Mobile, that I've really had to push a lot of work out there. And I've noticed this machine that I've basically been using like a desktop because the power and the battery is not good to use anywhere else, doesn't quite handle it. So why the Mac Mini? Why not a MacBook Pro? Well, the Mac Mini appealed to me for a lot of different reasons. Firstly, it's just so aesthetically nice to look at. Like it's a little tiny cube almost, and I've always appreciated nice form when it comes to technology. And with the battery on that not being very good, I've basically used it like a desktop anyway. So I thought, well, you know what? Mac Mini seems like a really good in-between. Dip in the water, see what it's like, see if I can handle it for one, and then go from there. But then I started going into the cycle of looking at the Mac Mini configurations. Because at a base model, $599 US, $999 Australian, what a great value for a desktop computer. But with my workflow and the sort of stuff that I'm doing with the channel, I've got cameras now, I'm investing a little bit more in equipment to sort of try and raise the standard. It becomes a little bit inconsequential if I were to upgrade that machine to a base model Mac Mini. Silly. Then I start speccing it out. You climb the Apple ladder. And before you know it, a $999 Mac Mini now is costing you almost $3,500. And then I just jump out because I'm like, I can't do that. And then I start to remember what I'm going to miss out on if I enter into this Apple ladder that they've got going on. With my Samsung ecosystem and the Book 4 Ultra, everything is centered around the fact I have Samsung products. I've got Galaxy phones that I film with for B-roll when I'm out in a pinch, camera comparisons, I'm sending bulk files to the laptop. That all is done by QuickShare. And the convenience of that, wirelessly sending files to my laptop, is so good to have. Then there's the added element of having notifications from my phone coming through. Linked to Windows, Samsung Flow, which I spoke about in my Samsung Dex for PC video the other week. Both of those platforms give me the freedom to work on my computer and leave the phones alone. Then there's the added fact too that Windows laptops are upgradable. So I mentioned at the start that my Book 4 Ultra was a 1 terabyte SSD in there. I then bought an extra 2 terabytes and put it in, which gives me a total of 3. And if that runs out, I could add in some more, take out the 2 terabyte and chuck in a 4 terabyte if I need to give me even more storage. And it's not to say this machine's bad at editing, because it actually can chug through a 15-minute 4K export in like 5 minutes, which is razor fast and more than enough speed than what I need. Sometimes I like it to take a bit longer so I can have a bit of a rest or do the thumbnail while I'm waiting. So every time I go to get that Mac Mini, and I've added multiple to the bag, as Apple call it, on a cart, silly, I always just look at the price and I think, why is it so expensive to do everything now? Why don't Apple give you that flexibility and freedom? I mean, we know why. It's Apple. But I've never been more tempted, but also never been more solidified in my choice as a Samsung user to stick with my Samsung ecosystem. That's not to say that one day I might dip my toes into a MacBook or a Mac Mini, but right now I am certain that I'm going to stay with what I've got. I wasn't really going to talk about this or make a video. I know that you guys are very loyal Samsung users, and I am myself, but there was just something about this Mac Mini that I looked at, I saw, and I've been researching heavily for the last probably month to 2 months. And every time I go to pull the trigger, and every time I have people around me who convince me of the value that the Mac Mini offers, I then have to take a step back, work on my Book 4 Ultra, use the ecosystem that I've got, and remind myself that I am a Samsung user for a reason. And that is going to stay that way for as long as I can. Bit of a different video, just something I wanted to make because I was seriously considering the Mac Mini and I just almost needed to convince myself I need to stay put. And I think I've done that. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about having a workflow that's multi-platform, whether you can actually blend a Mac and a Samsung creator workflow together. And if you're doing it, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit subscribe. 2025, going to be a massive year. You guys should be a part of it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. You!